Welcome back, everyone. Steel yourselves because the truth today is more brutal than we imagined. That fateful push off the cliff blood staining the deep forest. Tutien's disappearance wasn't an accident. It was a cold-blooded murder plot by the very woman she called mother. All for a necklace. She was willing to send her daughter-in-law to her death. Even more painful, after escaping death's door, Tien now faces a death sentence called cancer. Yet she refuses treatment to demand justice. Hit like and subscribe right now to give Tutien strength in this life or death battle. The horrifying truth starts right now. After Tutien's terrifying scream and collapse in the car, the joy of reunion shattered into a million pieces. The police car sirens wailed immediately, tearing through the thick mountain fog, speeding like an arrow toward the city general hospital. Jack sat in the back, holding Tutien tight. His hands were ice-cold trembling as he smoothed the sweat-matted hair on his wife's forehead. Tien, hang in there, don't give up, now we made it back. Jack screamed in his mind, but his throat was so choked up he couldn't speak. He felt her breathing weak and uneven, flickering like a candle in the wind. Every time the car hit a bump, it felt like a hand squeezing his heart. In the front seat, the old woman, their savior, remained stoic and weathered. She didn't panic like Jack, but her deep-set eyes held an unusual anxiety. She knew the threat to Tutien wasn't just exhaustion from the forest, but another dark shadow eating her away from the inside. The car screeched to a halt at the emergency entrance. The doors flew open. "Doctor, help. Please save my wife." Jack's scream echoed through the stark white hospital corridor. Doctors and nurses rushed the stretcher down the hall. Tutien was wheeled into the ER, and the cold glass doors slid shut, separating Jack between the world of the living and the dead. The red light turned on a piercing, haunting red. Jack stood frozen before the door, head in his hands, sliding down the cold wall. He had just found her. He hadn't had the chance to say kind words or make amends, and now the Grim Reaper was trying to snatch her away again. The old woman walked over, placing a calloused hand on Jack's shoulder. She didn't offer empty platitudes. She looked straight into his eyes. Her voice raspy but commanding. "Young man, pull yourself together. That girl has a strong life force. The poisonous jungle couldn't keep her, so she will pass this trial too." But she left the sentence hanging, her eyes drilling into the ER doors. Jack looked up, eyes bloodshot. "But what, Grandma? You know something, don't you?" The old woman sighed, pulling a packet of dried forest tobacco from her old pocket, fingering it nervously. While caring for her on the mountain, checking her pulse, and cleaning her up, I felt her energy was very strange. It's not just weakness. Inside her, there's a mass of sickness rising up strongly. I'm afraid. Before she could finish, the ER doors swung open. The head doctor stepped out, removing his mask, his face grave. Jack lunged like a wounded animal. "Doctor, how is my wife? Is she awake?" The doctor looked at Jack. Then the old woman gave a slight nod and lowered his voice. "The patient is out of critical danger regarding exhaustion and psychological shock. We've stabilized her vitals. However," that word "however" dropped like a boulder on everyone's chest. "During the full body scan to check for soft tissue damage, we accidentally discovered a malignant tumor in her ovaries. In other words, she has cancer. Jack went numb. His ears rang. Cancer. Tutien. She was so young, she was always healthy. Doctor, what are you saying? Is there a mistake? My wife just got lost in the forest. Jack stammered, refusing to believe the truth. The doctor calmly explained. Luckily, there is a silver lining in this tragedy. Thanks to this accident, she got a comprehensive checkup. The disease is only in the early stage, stage 1. If we didn't catch it now, in just a few months, when it metastasizes, it would be incurable. Currently, the chance of successful treatment is very high if we perform surgery and chemotherapy immediately. Silence enveloped them. Relief mixed with dread. Relief for finding it early, but dread because Tutien's body was so frail. Could she handle chemo and surgery after just surviving a living hell? Just then, Jack's family Mom Lai and Uncle Dung arrived. Hearing the bad news, Mom Lai collapsed sobbing. The joy of reunion wasn't even complete before the pain of illness struck. The hospital corridor drowned in a suffocating atmosphere of grief. Jack turned to the old woman falling to his knees. Grandma, you were right. Please, I beg you, stay here with us for a few more days. You are our savior, and you understand medicine. I only feel safe if you are here. I will provide everything for you, please. The old woman helped Jack up, shaking her head with a sad smile. I'm a person of the mountains. I'm not used to the smell of hospitals. But I'll stay nearby for a few days, waiting for the girl to wake up. I want to see her choose life. That night, Tutien woke up. She was in a special recovery room, tubes and wires hooked up all around her. The sharp scent of antiseptic hit her nose, making her wince. Jack was keeping vigil by her side, holding her hand tight, never letting go. Seeing her open her eyes, he was overjoyed, but he fought back his emotion so he wouldn't scare her. He gently told her about her condition. He chose his words carefully to soften the blow, but the truth was still the truth. You're sick, Tien, but the doctor says it's the early stage. We can cure this. Just say the word, and I'll get the best doctors, the best medicine. Tutien lay still, tears silently rolling down onto the pillow. She wasn't crying because she was afraid of dying. She was crying because fate felt like it was playing a cruel joke on her. She had just escaped the jaws of the wild forest, escaped the hands of a killer, and now she had to face another war inside her own body. She turned her face away, looking out the pitch-black window. In her mind, right now, it wasn't the image of the tumor, but the face of the person who pushed her off the cliff. He was still out there. He was still living free. If I lie here for treatment, I'll be weak. I won't be able to do anything to him. And he will come back to kill me, kill Jack too. That thought made Tutien shake violently. The fear of the enemy was greater than the fear of the disease. She turned back to look at Jack. Her eyes strangely steady, yet filled with desperation. Jack, I don't want treatment. Jack was stunned. What are you saying? Are you crazy? No treatment means death. Tien, I want to go home. I want to find that person. He is someone very close to us. If I lie here, he won't let it go. I'd rather die from the sickness then let him hurt you and our family. Tien's words were like a bucket of ice water thrown in Jack's face. Turns out, she wasn't refusing treatment because she gave up, but because she wanted to protect him. She was carrying a terrifying secret about the attacker. Jack stood up, his face hardening. The pained, weak look from earlier vanished, replaced by a terrifying coldness. He leaned down, planting a deep kiss on Tien's forehead. Listen to me. Your job is to lie here, get treated, and live. As for that bastard, leave him to me. I swear to you, whoever he is, even if he hides in the 9th circle of hell, I will drag him out by his neck. With that, Jack walked out of the hospital room. He pulled out his phone, dialing a number he hadn't used in a long time. It was an old friend in the world of private investigators and the underground connections Jack had tried to shed when he went legitimate. Hello, it's Jack. I need you to reinvestigate the entire schedule of everyone closest to my family for the last 10 days. Cameras call history bank transactions. Spare no one. Not business partners, not even family. Jack gritted his teeth as he said the word family. The old woman's words echoed in his ears, finger-shaped bruises. He is someone you know. At the same time, in a shadowed corner of the hospital parking lot, a figure in a cap pulled low was silently watching Tien's hospital window. He held a phone, typing a short message. She's not dead, and she has cancer. Need me to strike again. Message sent. He smirked a cold smile, then vanished into the night. Ladies and gentlemen, Tien is caught between two jaws of death. One is the vicious cancer, waiting to swallow her fragile life. The other is a faceless enemy lurking right outside the hospital window. Will Tien have the courage to step into the operating room, or will she risk it all to expose the killer? And Jack, now that the beast inside him has awakened, what will he do? Will he be ruthless enough to face the truth that the person who harmed his wife might be someone he once trusted, someone he called brother, or even his own flesh and blood? Who is that mysterious old woman, really? Why did she appear at such a perfect time? And what secret does she hold about Tien's fate that she hasn't revealed yet? A new war has begun. It is no longer a battle for survival in the poisonous wild. It is a war of human hearts, of betrayal and revenge. Don't take your eyes off the screen, because the next episode will feature the most breathless battle of wits. The faceless man will be revealed, and the price to pay will be incredibly high. Who do you think it is? After leaving the hospital with a vow to find the perpetrator, Jack threw himself into the investigation like a mad animal. He didn't eat, didn't sleep. Every connection in the underground world, every corner of the city was turned upside down by him. And finally, heaven didn't turn a blind eye. The first clue appeared from a place no one expected. An illegal pawn shop, deep in a dark alley on the outskirts of the city. Jack's subordinate reported back. Boss, a gold necklace with a jade pendant was just fenced here. It looks exactly like the one your wife wears. Jack's heart pounded. That necklace was the anniversary gift he gave Tutien, with their names engraved on the back. There was no mistaking it. Jack immediately raided the pawn shop. The trembling owner handed over the ledger and extracted the security camera footage from that day. On the grainy screen, two figures appeared. A tattooed man with a thug-like face, and walking beside him, a woman with a scarf covering her face, covering her face, moving stealthily, fearfully. Jack squinted, rewinding the tape again and again. That walk, the way she hunched, it looked familiar, too familiar. When the woman accidentally lifted her face to sign the sale receipt, a lightning bolt seemed to strike Jack. He slammed his hand on the table, making the shop owner jump. It's her, impossible. Why her? It was none other than Mrs. Tutien's former mother-in-law. The woman Tutien used to call mother who she cared for a long time before her previous marriage broke down. Everything gradually became clear. But why did she have Tutien's necklace? And why was she with a gangster? A red-hot rage flared in Jack's eyes. He roared, "Find them, drag their asses back here to me immediately." While Jack's men went hunting, let's travel back in time to witness the tragedy of that day with our own eyes. A truth much starker and crueler than we imagined. That day, Tutien was checking the fruit orchard near the edge of the forest. Mrs. Hoai came to find her, not to visit but to beg. She was drowning in gambling debt, driven into a corner by the loan shark, the tattooed man named Hung. He threatened to chop off her hand if she didn't pay. Mrs. Hoai cried, kneeling and clutching Tutien's legs. "Child, please save me. You are rich now. Please spare a little money to save this old life." Although Tutien felt pity, she resolutely refused. She knew giving her money now was aiding her gambling habit. It was harming her, not saving her. "I'm sorry, I cannot help you with this. You must take responsibility for your actions." Tutien's refusal enraged Hung. He stepped forward, his greedy eyes locking onto Tutien's neck. The gold necklace glistening in the afternoon sun stimulated the bottomless greed of the desperate man. He winked at Mrs. Hoai. "Old woman, if you can't beg for it, rob it. She has gold right there." Mrs. Hoai was panicked, but the fear of losing her hand overpowered her conscience. She rushed in to hold Tutien tight so Hung could snatch the necklace. "Let me go. What are you doing?" Tutien screamed, struggling violently. "Stand still. I just want the gold." Hung growled his rough hand, yanking the chain hard. Snap! The necklace broke. In the chaotic struggle, Hung used too much force and shoved Tutien away. Tutien stumbled backward. She slipped. Her entire body fell backward, her head slamming hard against a sharp rock jutting out of the ground. Thud. A sickening dry sound echoed. Tutien lay motionless. Fresh blood began to seep out, soaking her black hair pooling on the cold ground. The space suddenly fell silent. Only the sound of the forest wind rustled. Hung and Mrs. Hoai stood frozen. Mrs. Hoai tremblingly covered her mouth with her hands. "Oh my God, Tien, is she dead?" Hung leaned down, placing his hand by Tutien's nose. Her breath was so weak it was almost non-existent. "She's not dead, but she's bleeding too much." He said, his voice cracking with fear. "Take her to the hospital. Hurry." Mrs. Hoai screamed. "Are you crazy?" Hung yelled back, his eyes wild. "Take her to the hospital, and you and I will rot in prison, robbery, and murder. Do you want to spend your life in jail?" That statement crushed the last bit of conscience left in that woman. Then what do we do? Throw her deep into the forest. Let her fend for herself. Make it look like an accident, like she was eaten by wild animals. No one will know. And so, those two inhumane wretches carried Tutien's unconscious bleeding body deep into the forest, abandoning her to lie exposed amidst the cold and darkness, then fled with the blood-stained necklace back to the present. Within just a few hours, Jack and the police had captured both of them, hiding in a seedy motel, preparing to flee to another province. At the police station, facing Jack Hung's aggression, vanished, leaving only the cowardice of a loser. As for Mrs. Hoa, she cried bitterly, begging Jack to spare her life. She knelt crawling to Jack's feet. "Mr. Jack, I beg you. I was confused. I was possessed by demons. I didn't mean to kill Tien. She used to be my daughter-in-law. I loved her more than anything." Jack looked down at the woman crying at his feet, his eyes cold as ice. He didn't lay a hand on her, but the pressure radiating from him made her choke. "You loved her by holding her arms down so that Punk could rob her, loved her by seeing her head cracked open and bleeding, and instead of taking her to the ER, you threw her in the forest for the wolves to eat." Jack gritted out each word, his voice shaking as he suppressed his rage. "Do you know that because of your cruelty, my wife had to lie in the cold forest for days? Do you know that because of that head trauma combined with exhaustion, she is now lying paralyzed in a hospital bed with cancer waiting to take her life? You didn't hold the knife that killed her, but you are the murderer." Hearing the word cancer, the blood drained from Mrs. Ho's face. She collapsed completely, her mouth stammering soundlessly. Could belated remorse wash away this crime? Jack went to the hospital, bringing the confessions of the two criminals to Tutien's bedside. Tutien was awake now, but she was much weaker than yesterday. Hearing Jack recount the entire event, her tears flowed long and salty. She wasn't in pain from the wound on her head. She was in pain from the human heart. The person she called mother, the person she once respected because of greed, was willing to push her to death's door. Mrs. Hoa was escorted into the hospital room by the police, a special request for one final confrontation. Seeing Tutien lying there, pale and gaunt, on the hospital bed, she broke down sobbing uncontrollably. "Tien, I was wrong. I am so sorry. Can you forgive me? Can you write a petition to drop the charges? I'm an old woman. I don't want to die in prison. Please, child." The atmosphere in the room grew heavy. All eyes turned to Tutien. Would this kind-hearted girl soften her stance? Tutien looked at Mrs. Hoa for a long time. Her eyes no longer held a burning hatred, but they carried a sorrow so deep it was heartbreaking. She whispered, her voice weak, but every word crystal clear. "Ma'am, I can forgive you for the money debts. I can forgive you for the coldness in the past. But leaving a dying person alone in the deep forest, that is the cruelty of a devil, not a human being." Tutien closed her eyes, a single tear rolling down. "I don't hate you anymore, because hatred only hurts me more. But I will not drop the charges. The law will take its course. Go in there, repent, and pay the price for what you've done. That is the only way for you to become human again." Tutien's steely yet humane refusal left Mrs. Hoa stunned. She was dragged away screaming in hopelessness. As for the loan shark and the ex-mother-in-law, Jack kept his promise of punishment. He didn't need to use jungle law. Jack hired the best lawyers, and gathered the most damning evidence to ensure the maximum penalty for robbery and attempted murder. For hung Jack ensured he wouldn't see the light of freedom for decades. For Mrs. Hoai, the sentence of her conscience and the days behind bars would be the most fitting punishment for her betrayal. But ladies and gentlemen, the villains have been caught, yet Tutien's tragedy isn't over. The vicious cancer is still eating away at her body by the hour. After this mental shock, her health has collapsed completely. The doctor announced she needs urgent surgery within the next 24 hours, but the success rate is only 50-50 because her body is so frail. Jack held Tutien's hand tight, his eyes red. The people who hurt you have paid for their crimes. Now you have to fight for yourself, for me. Do you dare to gamble with the Grim Reaper one more time? Tutien looked at Jack then, out the window at the gray sky. Does she have enough strength to step onto the operating table? Or has cruel fate already written a sad ending for this beautiful but ill-fated girl? The answer will be revealed in the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to join us in praying for Tutien to survive this life and death trial. Thank you for listening to today's story, full of tears and outrage. Goodbye, and see you again.